What's up, everybody? Welcome, Squad Squad, and welcome to Slav Guns. We are at SHOT Show 2023. It's nice and warm inside. We're not battling 65-mile-an-hour crosswinds and gusts out at the range. So we're not shooting stuff, but we are taking a look at some really, really cool guns. So when I originally started the channel, one of the big things we focused on is Zev. Loved my original Zev OZ9. I got the OZ9 competition model, and then all y'all started buying them and asking me questions about them. So I'm here at Zev with Dan, kind of talking about like some of the big updates on the platform and some other stuff that Zev is working on. So Dan, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming by.
Walk us through it.
Okay, so this year we got a lot of new stuff, and we'll start with the OZ9 V2, stands for version 2. This year, all OZ9s now come on an updated OZ9C platform with updated Gen 5 internals. What we're trying to accomplish is ultra modularity. So if you buy one OZ9C, which you could start at OZ9C, and from there you can buy a second grip, which is instead of a 15 round, you would have a 17 round grip. We refer to it as X grip.
Okay.
And then you could go 19 slide, 17 slide, and 34 slide, all in the same chassis. And then between your grip options, you can create 6 guns out of the one chassis. Right? Pretty sick.
So kind of going back to that, I remember when the original OZ9 came out, I mean, that was basically the end goal. That was the result. You can buy one frame, change out the grips, and do all that stuff. But I guess it turns out when the compacts came out, some of them were interchangeable with each other, some of them weren't. And I guess this basically addresses all of it, that now it all works together anyway.
Yeah, so originally the first OZ9 was an OZ9 standard.
Yes.
And so we wanted to give people the modularity, so we created the short grip. But then when the OZ9C came out, we realized that we could make everything out of one. So we immediately it took us a couple of years to start to phase it down and finish up all the testing and everything on these, and now it's the most modular handgun platform in the industry.
Cool. All right, so kind of speaking about like the gun industry trend, so before I hurt my wrist a little bit, I was a competition gun gamer, shot a lot of USPSA, and we saw a whole bunch of technology. So red dot optics that started out at the gun gamers, went to the military, law enforcement, and now everyone and their mother has to have a red dot optic on their gun, and yours did, and it's great. But now the second trend, which I totally didn't expect to start taking hold, is compensators on 9mm. So I was always under impression, and you talk to anybody who's a competition shooter, if you have a comp on a gun, it needs to be like plus P plus, or like what we call a 9 major, in order to make the comp run effectively. But you guys have actually have a couple of guns with compensators already built in. So I guess and we're seeing a bunch more guns from other companies follow that same trend. So I guess talk to us about the hypercomp and the benefits to that, and is somebody actually going to see it if we're not running super hot ammo, and is this something we're going to see further down the road as well?
Of course we offer, external compensation, yes. Right? So if you buy an OZ9 with a threaded barrel, it matches up to the slide properly and looks good.
And that's a cool little cube comp.
Right, it's a cube. It's the cube. It's no reason to overdo it. And then of course, if you move over to a hypercomp, which is integrally compensated, let me tell you, you talk about flat shooting. It blows all that stuff out. It drives the gun back down. The weight of it, of the receiver and the billet slide. It's just the recoil impulse is just not bad. Okay. Not that 9mm is tough to shoot, but when you shoot a really soft shooting gun, but it's still super reliable. And even after in our testing through 10,000 rounds, this thing shows no loss in velocity. It's almost like the barrel doesn't really wear. And you find a lot of other manufacturers, it starts to break down after like 7,000, 8,000 rounds. If you're shooting really corrosive ammo, it still doesn't really hurt this thing because we coat it with just the best of the best, And it's also on the C platform. So if you want to take this and buy a 34 slide and go competition shooting with it, you can.
So is there any types of like data or metrics in terms of like roughly what percentage recoil reduction somebody can expect going from that, or is like...
Yeah, I can't like spit all that stuff out for you. That'd be cheating for everyone.
So he doesn't want to lie, and that's definitely appreciated. But I guess is it something that an average gun owner is going to be able to feel?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, actually, if you go onto YouTube, CQM, who does a lot of video work for us, they brought in a Phantom camera and did the slow speed, and you can kind of see it, versus other OZ9s against, kind of standard Glock 19. Um, it's definitely a very noticeable, even against our own regular compensator, in our own threaded compensator.
All right, so we talked about the Elite, the OZ9s. Now, a couple of years ago, you guys pulled something completely out of left field, and everybody's talking about it. That thing, and apparently there's some changes to it. So, what is it in case this is somebody seeing it for the first time, besides a Terminator space gun?
That's right, it is the Terminator space gun. It's a low visibility, folding, pistol caliber carbine, if it's an SBR. We're navigating those weird waters with the ATF. They will be mostly available in the pistol version, and then we will sell the stock version separately for when you SBR. But you see it folds up into a nice tight package. It's just a really cool, innovative gun. It's great for low visibility spaces. You got to tuck it into a backpack. You're running EP for somebody, executive protection. So it's going to serve a lot of legitimate purposes, and it's not a range toy. It's durable, it functions, it's real, and it's actually going to be for sale at some point this year. So, and we've got a great relationship with Magpul, and of course they're manufacturing all the plastic, we're manufacturing all the metal, we're building it and we're selling it. So you'll have to come to Zev Technologies for purchase.
Roughly when can possibly somebody expect this?
Probably later in the year. I would probably say, Q3, but I make no promises.
Any rough pricing expectations? Is it going to be affordable? Let's put it. Is it going to be attainable to most gun owners?
That's subjective, but I would say the average guy will be able to buy it. You know what I mean? Everything we make is in the let's say we started at about $1,100, and then we go up, into the $2,500 range. I would expect it to be in the higher end range of that. But you get our full warranty, you get our awesome customer service and our support. I think it's going to be a success.
And so I'm glad you brought up the attainable price points as well, because I remember the very first time we were doing these SHOT Show meetings with Zev, when the OZ9 was launched, I know it was the company's goal, it was the company's goal to bring the price point down to make guns more affordable. So we have the OZ9s that have come down in price a little bit, and then you have the new combat and the duty lines as well. So let's talk about those in case people haven't seen those guns as well.
So we wanted to get a lower price point for people to get in the door with Zev. So we created the combat, and it of course it falls into line for law enforcement officers, professional end users, and we try to make it again attainable. This is like $1,400-$1,500 price point. You get all the modularity from the Elite series. So this gun is good for any mission. You need an ultra compact, go into a 19. If you're going to be carrying OWB, you can pick up a long slide and run it like that. And then in our duty, you get all of the quality control. You just get a little bit more of a basic slide, and it's not a V2. So it doesn't share the modularity. It shares the modularity with V1, which will continue support of those grips and some V1 slides. But same thing, Gen 5 internals, you get the new super deep slide cuts that are real aggressive. If you notice, we use fiber front sights, so you get some nice front sights out of the box. The triggers in both guns is the same trigger. The only thing, you don't get a magazine well. So if you want that, you just pick it up. So completely modular, pretty affordable, durable coatings, super ergonomic. There's nothing, and it's NTOA approved this year.
And I know basically, kind of somebody's decision-making process is they love the modularity, they love the features, they love the shooting characteristics of the OZ9s, but they might be, hey, this gun might be a little too gaudy looking, or they might be concerned that all the porting on the guns, on the slides, it might make it possibly a bit less reliable under extreme conditions, and I guess that's what these addressed.
Right. There's a place and a time for aesthetics, and that it's not always necessarily in the field. So when you're making, your purchase with us, a lot of guys, they got to go, am I more of an aesthetics guy, or am I really going to drag this into the field? Am I using it at work? based upon those, that information, you either know you need a combat,
Yep.
you need a duty, or you need an elite. The cool thing is, if you've got a budget you need to operate under, we have an $1,100 model,
Yeah.
and then you go up from there. So both in modularity and affordability, you can figure out what you need, and we've got it for you.
Awesome. So that is now the complete look at the ever-expanding OZ9 line from Zev, and it's almost like it's a long way coming from just making Glock accessories. So Dan, thank you very much for taking the time out of the busy day. Going over the guns, definitely good refresher course for anybody looking at the OZ9 and the new Magpul FDP. As always, thank you guys for watching. Keep on squatting, and we'll see you in the next video, linked up here. Cool. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for